Okay, today we're playing a game on Rialto. We are in the Platinum SR range, and we will be playing Mercy the entire way through. And our current team composition is Reinhardt, Roadhog, McCree, Reaper, Mercy, and Baguette. So, unfortunately, we have no Zenyatta, no Hanzo, and no Zarya. So, it's a very woeful team composition as a result. Also, McCree is just worse than Soldier and Hanzo. So, there isn't much reason to pick McCree, team composition-wise, other than just, you like McCree, basically. Which is why I picked McCree, but whatever. So we're currently damage boosting Reinhardt. He's just thrown his Fire Strike out, so fair enough. Then we want to damage boost McCree after that point, because he is the other one most likely to do damage. We are instead just sort of hovering around them. Then McCree starts going underneath us, so we jump off the high ground as also unfortunate. We are in a 6-man, so I guess this is worth saying. If your teammates are line of sighting you, tell them to fucking stop. Like, we would ideally like to stay up on the high ground. So, instead of jumping down to heal the McCree, we could just tell McCree to stay in fucking line of sight, basically. He's also, like, jumping around like a fool. So here, we die as a result of this. We did not need to GA closer to this Reaper, because when we GA'd, we were already tethered to him. Similarly, if we're going to come this far up, we want to be much more flush with... Where's my pen? We want to be much more flush with this wall over here, because just standing over here, there's no cover anywhere in the vicinity. It's just open street from here, so they can just shoot at us from all myriad of locations, whereas if we're much more flush with the wall, they have to actually come around the corner to shoot us. Like, they can just come around the corner and shoot us, this is true. Or shoot us through that doorway as well, I suppose. But if we're just flush with that wall, we got a lot more cover than if we're just standing over against this wall, which has absolutely no cover between us and the enemy team. Cover is very important if you don't have a shield. Even if you have a shield. Knowing where you're going to go to if your shield abandons you is also important. Because sometimes the Reinhardt just fucks off and leaves you to die. I would know, I am frequently that Reinhardt. So everyone died, feels bad. Baguette changed to Zenyatta, so our team composition got significantly better, unfortunately. I play a lot of Baguette, but unfortunately, Zenyatta is just, like, really fucking good right now, you know, it's, as is often the way when the metagame somewhat revolves around big ult combos, as it currently does. So we get fucking shot by Hanzo here. Feels bad. We do see him come around the corner right there, but honestly, by the time we see him, it's probably already too late. Sometimes you get shot in the face by Hanzo. Such is life. Sometimes you come around the corner and Hanzo shoots you, or you come around the corner and get shot by Hanzo. This is the unfortunate reality of Hanzo being a commonly picked hero. It's tragic, I know. So we got McCree getting fucked up over here by Zarya. He does flashbang and fan the hammer into Zarya right here. I know he is wounded, but when I see that happen, the flashbang get thrown, I'm going to change the damage boost real quick, because he's about to probably fan the hammer into her or try to headshot her. Either way, I want him to do more damage while he's doing that, because then he might kill the Zarya, which would be pretty sick. Killing someone is generally very helpful. Maybe the McCree dies, that would be sad, but from the position we were in, we would just be able to res him right there and then, because a zero-charge Zarya is not about to put me off resing somebody, and there were plenty of people nearby to jump to if we had to. And Zarya being dead would just be pretty sick, basically. He doesn't kill her. He goes off and dies over there in a completely unresable location. Tragic indeed. We are currently healing a D.Va who is at full health. We do not want to be healing people who are at full health. Reinhardt fucking dies right there. We could try and go for it. We do go for a similar res later on, but it's a very scary location to try and res them. And like, we're still waiting for half our team to regroup anyway, so there's not much point sticking our neck out for him. So don't worry about the McCree at this point. The McCree is clearly planning to flank with Deadeye. You don't go with the McCree who's doing that as Mercy. You don't follow the flanker, because especially if it's a bad flanker like McCree. So we use Valkyrie right now, which is fair enough because we're having a team fight. We wait for their Reinhardt to go, and then we swoop in to revive him. I would like if we were a little higher off the ground right now, because Basically, if Reinhardt did notice we were trying to res him, we would want to be as high off the ground as possible so that when he starts trying to swing at us, we can just float a little bit up and get out of his reach. But he didn't come back, he didn't notice, everything's good. He went off to try and smack other people instead, and miraculously killed no one, actually. So we had a great many ultimates, and we've managed to fend off the enemy team. Hooray. Genji's over here trying to kill Moira. He lacks the skill to do so, unfortunately, though. He got her in the end. Good job. Good job, Genji. You got there eventually. So Reinhardt, I believe now, fucking dies. Yep, there he goes. Just fucking dies suddenly. Now, this is a scary one to go for, because we know that the enemy team is, like, right there, because we can see their Reinhardt through the window right there, and his team, logically, are probably with him. So this is very scary. At least bare minimum Reinhardt's right there, so it's scary already. We do get away with it. Unfortunately, Reinhardt's gonna fucking die again right after. And then... tragic world we live in. Feels bad, man. There's not much you do about that one. If Reinhardt's fucking dead, there's not much you can do to avoid Earth Shatter, unless you, like, have your ultimate as Mercy, or somebody to fly to. Neither of which we had at that point in time, so... unfortunate. Life is difficult sometimes like that. So, we go in to try for this one. I would not have gone in to try for this one, because to me, this objective looked like it's already lost. And I would expect rezzing Winston to result in Winston immediately dying again. Now, not to spoil the surprise, that's not what happens, miraculously enough. Because I was like, you know, it's like, oh, this is pretty bad. Zenyatta actually has Transcendence. And so when their soldiers using TAC visor right now, but Transcendence was happening and we were completely out of line of sight, so it was all irrelevant. We are getting ran at right now by Zarya. I do not like that we came back out the doorway again, because just a low charge Zarya running after us is not as scary as Reinhardt. I would have rather stayed, and the rest of his team as well. I would have rather stayed in the room over there, and just tried to avoid the Zarya, basically, rather than swing back out here into the rest of their team. Realistically, probably die regardless, seeing as we were low health by that point. We ended up losing the point regardless. I wouldn't have even tried, because the point looked so lost so early on. And I expected Winston to just immediately die again upon being rezzed. Not quite what happened. Instead, he did live, but we also ended up wasting a couple more ultimates on a fight that we ultimately lost, which is unfortunate. I wouldn't have tried. I would have just given it up. Quite often, if you res a tank into a team fight that you are very unlikely to win, you typically don't win, and then they just killed another tank again. Which means that they got like 500 hit points worth of ult charge off of your team again. So rezzing like, a lot of Mercy players will res somebody just like, I hope this amounts to something. Quite often rezzing that person into the hopeless situation is just actively detrimental, because they might have been about to revive, suddenly they have to die again before they can respawn and regroup with the team. And also, the enemy team gets to farm them for more ult charge. So... it's can often be actively detrimental to try for that kind of thing. So McCree just killed their whole team, which is very nice of him. Not quite their whole team, but basically their whole team. Yeah, so we don't have to do anything now. Hooray! We've got Valkyrie as well for the next team fight, which is nice. Valkyrie, a very strong ultimate, as it turns out. Just like 10 seconds of Mercy being basically unkillable and tethered to her entire team. It's really strong. So our team got killed up here. We come over here to try and res them. We can do so because it's a completely safe location. I would have resed Hanzo over McCree because Hanzo's a more helpful hero, especially since McCree just used his ultimate. And then we get shot in the head by Hanzo. They start moving, like, 2 of our teammates got picked. We revived one of them, but then because 2 of them were picked, they just immediately capitalized on this and just dove right in on us. We could have tried ulting sooner. I suppose. Yeah, like, when Moira starts using Coalescence, they're probably gonna start coming in. But simultaneously, I also look at this team fight and I'm like, 2 people on our team are already dead, one of them is Reinhardt. Probably not going to win the fight. Probably just better off saving Valkyrie for the next team fight instead. Using Valkyrie probably would have made us survive, but we probably would have used it to run away in the end. So it's a very tragic life when you play Mercy quite frequently, because quite often you don't really have that much agency over the game. Mercy is very beholden to her team being somewhat competent. There, Reinhardt just wasted his ultimate. That's very nice of him to do so. Mercy is very beholden to her teammates. Like, in that kind of position where two of your teammates get killed, all you can do is res one of them. But if the enemy team capitalizes on the picks that happens and just immediately commit to a fight, you as Mercy can do very little beyond that point, except just try and keep everyone alive and damage boost people as much as you can. This is why I do not like to play Mercy. I don't like being quite so beholden to other people. I like to play Moira and Bridget because I find that they have much more agency over the game. Zenyatta has agency over the game as well because he can just fucking shoot people, but I'm bad, so I don't like to do that. I prefer to just hit people with my mace. So I think we were healing people at full health again in here. We are healing the D.Va right now. No, I suppose not. No, I just saw it like that bit right there, and I was like, are we healing people at full health? We don't want to do that. No, not really. So we're in the Graviton. This is very scary. We've got Transcendence happening. D.Va's also using Self-Destruct. We can hear Soldier using Tac Visor out there somewhere. Transcendence is over, but Reinhardt's in the way, and then he lets us get Earth Shattered. Like, there's really nothing you do about this one. It's not what anybody wants to hear, but this is the unfortunate truth about a lot of Mercy games. There's really just not very much you can do about some of these things. It's like, even most of these deaths that we've had, I'm like, I guess there were ways we might have been able to survive, but like, realistically, we died regardless, probably still. So we could go for the res on the Reinhardt right now. It would be quite unlikely for us to die because we are using Valkyrie, and nobody is, really super close to him. Their Reinhardt's nearby, but he's swinging a D.Va. He's not going to notice. We would end up leaving our tanks unhealed at the time. Though, frankly, it's miraculous D.Va held on to her mech during all of this right here, regardless. Reinhardt would have survived, regardless, but it's miraculous D.Va held on to her mech for as long as she did. She lost it in the end, but gee, she didn't have any right to hold on to her mech for that long. There Reinhardt used his ult. It didn't really accomplish very much. Our team are switching to some stalling heroes. Mei built up her ultimate quite quickly. And it's a very confined place, so Mei's ult tends to get a lot of value over here. Junkrat also really good on the third point for Rialto because of this confined location. Junkrat can farm a lot of ult charge and like hit a lot of people. Big AoE damage. Someone's contesting the point behind us. They don't really have any flankers, so it had to be someone not very good, and it turned out to be Soldier, so he just kind of got beat to death regardless. So they didn't capture all 3 checkpoints, but they got to basically the end of the track, so we have to get it to the end of the track. Which is quite hard to do on Rialto, I find. I don't really like attacking Rialto very much, because I find there are a great many locations you can stall out. My least favorite location is the second checkpoint, because right near the end of the track, because once you're on that street in front of the canal, the defender spawn is so close that they can just regroup really quickly. Like, if you're playing Reinhardt and you're defending, if you go out the left door and charge out of it, you just get back to the fight in one charge. Like, it's insane. Reinhardt gets back to the fight in, like, after respawning, like 4 or 5 seconds. It's insane how quickly the team can regroup. Anyway, so now we've got to attack. We've got a Widowmaker, so we want to damage boost her as much as possible. Hanzo as well is a good one to boost. Widowmaker, probably better on average to damage boost than Hanzo, unless Hanzo's using Scatter Arrow. Storm Arrow is the actual ability name. The better Scatter Arrow. The Scatter Arrow with a higher potential damage output. And roughly about the same amount of skill to use as Scatter Arrow. No, they changed that on the PTR. I was going to say also when he's ulting, but they're changing that. It was undocumented on the last set of PTR changes, but apparently a Hanzo's ult can no longer be damage boosted. So, which makes sense, because the damage boost is not meant to work on separate entities to the hero. For example, if you damage boost a Junkrat while he is using his ultimate, that does not make the tire stronger because the tire is a separate entity to Junkrat. Also, turrets don't get damage boosted, blah, 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 blah. So Hanzo, like damage boosting Hanzo should work while it's the arrow, but once it becomes the dragon, it's a separate entity. So it makes sense that it doesn't work. But it's been like that since the game launched, and they've only just now decided that they should probably fix that, because Hanzo is actually now frequently picked. And, oh, who would have guessed that, you know, when you damage boost the dragon, it actually kills people through Transcendence. And you can see how that might be a bit of an issue, just in general. But Hanzo was a source of scorn for the community, so it has not been an issue until lately. So, yeah, we just brush that bug aside for now. We don't have to worry about it, even though it was probably really easy to fix, actually. But, you know, we were busy making more skins, is the issue. I know the programmers don't work on the skins. Look, don't. You get the point of the bit. So Hanzo just died over there to Reaper. We don't really want to go and try to res him because we know Reaper's the one who killed him. Reaper is now dead. There is a Pharah bouncing around as well, which is very scary. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, we're on flowfeedback.com. There's just nothing on this video, actually, except for the uploaders' comments, 2 of which. So, very sad. Unfortunate way to die. Every Mercy's died like that once before, I'm sure. I also really hate this particular part of the map on Rialto. Oh, yeah. Lovely death pits, and oh, look how close the kill plane is to the edge as well. Real easy to just suddenly die right here. This is also why I like playing Baguette on the defending team. You just hover off to the side, like, you know, in yonder room or yonder room, and then as soon as you see the Reinhardt start pushing across the bridge, you just boop, push him, stun him, push him right off the edge. Can get saved by Zarya, which is always very upsetting. But if you push them off the edge, first off, they're not pushing anywhere for the near future. Secondarily, the Reinhardt is immediately tilted as a result of that. Or whoever you push off the edge. You know, Reinhardt's just the easy one. Oh, no. Unfortunate. Did we not have the GA up? Did we? Was GA not up that quickly? Or do we not have, no, I guess not. Damn. I was like, is it that, or do we not have prefers beam target turned on? I was like, preferred beam target turned on is a really sick setting. I advise turning that on to anyone who plays Mercy. Because if you have prefers beam target turned on, you can go like over ledges. You can go like over ledges and around corners and stuff because the beam doesn't break immediately. So you can GA to them even though you would not normally be able to because you don't have line of sight. So someone died behind us. Who's that over there? That's Reinhardt. Could we res this Reinhardt? We definitely could res this Reinhardt. Because we just saw Doomfist fly by. I think we would have made it. Would we have made it? Yeah, we could have definitely made it. It would have been tight, but we could have made it. Wait, did they actually change it so if you're rezzing somebody and the timer comes up and their death timer comes up, they respawn? I remember them saying they were going to do that, but I don't know if they ever actually did. So I don't play Mercy that frequently. So we end up rezzing McCree, regardless, which is fine. Doomfist just punched Mercy, Widowmaker to death. Zenyatta managed to kill Doomfist, which is fairly ironic, honestly. It's a very scattered and chaotic fight, but we're starting to win. And now we've got Valkyrie. I would probably just use Valkyrie already, just because, like, a team fight's about to break out, and I don't want to risk dying before the team fight starts, because we know there's a Reaper walking around, we know there's a Doomfist walking around, their Reinhardt, like, our Reinhardt, I don't really trust him to block Earth Shatter. I would have just used it already. We almost died to the Reaper as well. Go back, because positioning is like the important thing with Mercy, so it's definitely worth going back and looking at why we almost died. So we saw that Zenyatta died, and we came over to try and res him, I assume. First off, our res isn't up for 5 more seconds. Secondarily, we can see in the kill feed that Reaper killed Zenyatta. If Reaper killed Zenyatta, he's probably still in the area to Zenyatta's body, so we definitely don't want to go and try to res him. Because here's the thing, if a flanker killed somebody on your team, and they know that you have a Mercy on your team, the flanker should hover around the body for a while to see if the Mercy tries to res him. Because then, if Tracer just hides around the corner and sees the Mercy come out to try and res the Zenyatta, bam, Tracer just killed both supports. So be wary of going to any body that was killed by a flanker and you can't see the flanker at the time, because he might just be hovering around waiting to try and kill you. So, like, I would have just used Valkyrie so much sooner. Like, if I hadn't already used it before, I'd definitely use it now, because we're in a super scary location. And Doomfist just punched past us, then used Meteor Strike. If I wasn't already in the air, as soon as I hear Meteor Strike, I'm going in the sky. Because I don't want to get killed by Meteor Strike. Because I can tell you who Doomfist's going to target with that punch. It's going to be Mercy. And also Zenyatta. But Mercy's going to be, like, priority 1. Because if you kill Zenyatta, Mercy can just res the Zenyatta. If you kill Mercy, she can't res herself. Counterplay, that's how counterplay works right there. So, we should be damage boosting that Widowmaker. We were healing people at full health, which we don't want to do. It's hard to carry as a support, Mercy in particular, because as we established, she has quite little agency over the game itself. Most of it for Mercy is just being as efficient as possible with your damage. Like right now we're healing people who are in the Transcendence. We're healing Zenyatta while he's using Transcendence. We should just be damage boosting someone. Doesn't really matter who, just like somebody, rather than nobody. Because if you're healing somebody who's at full health, that's the same as your beam just being turned off. So most of carrying as Mercy is just being as efficient with your beam as you possibly can be. Which just means finding as many opportunities to damage boost somebody as is physically possible. So there's a lot of people dead around us right now. Is there anybody we could have realistically tried to res? No, Reinhardt's a little bit far in. We are using Valkyrie, which makes it easier to get away with a lot of reses, but Reinhardt is like right in the middle of their whole team. Doomfist just used Meteor Strike again, so no, realistically, none of those people were super appealing targets to try and res. We could have tried for Reinhardt, but he died so far in the enemy team, I wouldn't have gone for it even with Valkyrie. You can get away with a lot more. You can get away with a lot more reses than you think you might be able to get away with as Mercy, but that would be a little bit overkill. Damage boost Reinhardt while he's using Fire Strike. He ends up, like, I don't wanna point any fingers or anything, but boy, he sure did show that wall, didn't he now? Just damage boost Reinhardt when he's using Fire Strike. Mercy's is 30%, 30 more damage for on Fire Strike. Pretty sick. Doesn't block Earth Shatter again. At this point, like, I don't trust him. I'm gonna sit further back and try and play around this corner, because I don't trust Reinhardt to actually block this Earth Shatter. And there is a corner behind us that we could be playing around, rather than relying solely on Reinhardt, because I don't trust him. We've gotten Earth Shattered a few times now. One of the times he was dead, but he also should have been less fucking bad, and not died, so it's still his fault. We're not going to see the play of the game on this video. How sad. So we end up losing the game. Very tragic, very tragic. Like, there's nothing you do to win this game. Like, that's just how life is with Mercy. There are very few opportunities where you are in the position where you can affect the outcome of the game as Mercy. As long as there's only so much you can do as Mercy, really. And, honestly, I don't think there was much in this game. We do better, to be honest with you. Things that stood out the most were we weren't using cover as much as we could be. Thinking particularly at the very start of the game, the moment we just saw right there, we could have been playing the corner more. Don't rely on your tanks to block damage for you. Like, if you can use a wall or a shield, I recommend using the wall. Because the wall has infinite hit points, and the wall isn't going to suddenly take itself down for any reason. Just, you know, general advice for all players, really. If you can use a shield or a wall, use the wall instead. If you're moving in with the Reinhardt, obviously, fair enough, you're going to be using a shield, but try and stay close to as close to a wall as possible still. And as soon as you can resume using a wall. The wall is more trustworthy than a Reinhardt is. I say this as a Reinhardt player. The wall is more trustworthy than me. Because sometimes I see that Reinhardt go close to a wall, and I'm like, I could pin him. And then I just leave. And I might pin him. And then, you know, my whole team might die behind me. But I killed their Reinhardt. And that's how you assert dominance over the other Reinhardt right there. Please don't do that. Please don't kill your team. But I know how it is. I love pushing the shift key. Anyway, yeah, we could have used cover more efficiently. There are a few points where we could have been damage boosting more efficiently. The really big point that stands out is just for that fight towards the end where we held on to Valkyrie for so long. Valkyrie has a really long duration. You can just use it like prior to a team fight starting, or right as a team fight starts, just to avoid any potential risk of dying. Especially if the enemy team has like flankers like Reaper and Doomfist, ones that will kill you very suddenly if they get on top of you. Like if a Doomfist or a Reaper ganks you, you are unlikely to be able to react and Valkyrie away in time. So it's just like safer to use it in advance, and it is a very strong AoE effect. Unlike all support ultimates are this way, the exception to this is Zenyatta. All other support ultimates are this way, where you want as many teammates to benefit from it as possible, which usually just means use the ult as soon in the fight as possible, right? Because you want to be tethered to as many people in the team fight as possible. If you're Lucio, you want the sound barrier on as many people as possible. If you're Bridget, you want armor on as many people as possible. If you're playing Orisa, because she has a support ultimate, you want as many people to benefit from the bongo as possible. So which basically just means like you want to use it as early in the fight as you feasibly can, because that's when all 6 people are likely to be alive, right? And then it's when most people are likely to use their ultimates right at the start, so you can damage boost all the ultimates that are being used, things like that. The reason Zenyatta is the exception to this is because Zenyatta's ultimate is reactive. It's not really a proactive ultimate. Even if, like, you can use Transcendence to go in, I guess. That's a really bad way to use Transcendence, though. Transcendence is a reactive ultimate. You use it to counter other people's ultimates. You do still want as many people to benefit from it as possible, but you don't just use it right at the start of a team fight. You wait until the enemy are using their big money ultimates to cancel them out. That's why Zenyatta's the exception, because he has a purely reactive ultimate, whereas other supports can use their ultimates proactively. Like right at the start of a team fight or right prior to a team fight starting to try and make something happen. Coalescence as well. You want to hit as many people on both teams as possible, so right at the start of the fight or right before the fight starts. Most logical time still. So yeah, that's what stood out the most, basically. Like, you know, Platinum, I would expect Mercy players to, for the most part, not be like just like throwing themselves into the enemy team at that point, which was basically the case, except for like right at the start. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you did, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer. If you haven't already, you can join our Discord and ask questions more directly and have a conversation about them. Or just shitpost with us, and hope you found the video helpful.